August 1942. The heat of the Russian steppe was suffocating, but for the men of the German Sixth Army, it felt like the wind of victory. They were the elite, Hitler's most powerful formation, marching toward a city that bore the name of their greatest enemy, Stalingrad. In these rare photographs from the early weeks of the campaign, you don't see fear. You see confidence. You see soldiers smiling, sharing water, and gazing across the vast horizon of the Volga. To them, Stalingrad was just another milestone in a war that seemed already won. They believed that by reaching this river, they would sever the Soviet Union's jugular and end the war in the East. But history has a way of hiding the abyss until you are standing right on the edge. By September, the landscape changed. The open fields were gone, replaced by a twisted skeleton of steel and concrete. The Luftwaffe had turned the city into a burning ruin, but instead of clearing the path, they created a labyrinth of death. This was the beginning of what the Germans called Rattenkrieg, the War of the Rats. Every basement became a fortress, every pile of rubble a sniper's nest. The photographs here capture the harrowing transition from mobile warfare to a brutal house-to-house struggle. Notice the soldiers crouching behind tramways and shattered walls? The elegance of the Blitzkrieg was dead. In Stalingrad, combat was measured not in kilometers, but in the distance between one room and the next. The air was thick with the smell of plaster dust, cordite, and decaying remains. Here, the German soldier realized for the first time that the Soviet defender was not just fighting for a city, but for their very soul. As the weeks turned into months, the faces in these photographs began to transform. The smiles vanished. In their place appeared the 1,000-yard stare, the look of men who had seen too much and expected too little. Look closely at the portraits taken in October and November. The uniforms are ragged, the faces are caked in grease and dirt, and the eyes tell a story of exhaustion that no propaganda could hide. General Friedrich Paulus, commander of the Sixth Army, sat in his headquarters, staring at maps that no longer made sense. Behind him, the shadow of the Kremlin's resolve was growing, while Hitler, thousands of miles away, forbade any tactical retreat. The hunters were slowly becoming the prey. The Volga River, once a dream of strategic triumph, had become a cold, unreachable barrier. Then came November 19th, Operation Uranus. In a massive pincer movement, the Red Army smashed through the weak flanks held by German allies, encircling 250,000 men. The Sixth Army was now in the Kessel, the cauldron. The photographs from this period are hauntingly white. The sun-drenched steppes of August were now a frozen hell of minus 40 degrees. These images show men huddled in shallow foxholes, their summer waistcoats offering no protection against the Russian winter. Hunger became a constant companion. They ate their horses, then their leather belts. The promised air bridge from the Luftwaffe was a failure, bringing only a fraction of the supplies needed to survive. Every photograph from this stage is a testament to a slow, agonizing abandonment. They were the forgotten, left to die in the snow for a pride that was not their own. On February 2nd, 1943, the silence finally fell over the ruins of Stalingrad. The unthinkable had happened. A German field marshal had surrendered for the first time in history. Over 90,000 men were led away into the depths of Siberia. Only 5,000 would ever return home. Stalingrad was the graveyard of an empire. But beyond the maps and the casualty figures, it was a graveyard of individuals. These rare photographs serve as a bridge to a past that is often simplified. They remind us that behind the steel helmets were human beings caught in the machinery of a merciless ideology. As we look at these final images of the captured and the fallen, we are reminded of the cost of war. Thank you for watching this journey into the shadows of history. If you want to keep these stories from being forgotten, subscribe and join us for our next deep dive into the archives of the past.